In this presentation, I will explain Yukon's region, physical characteristics, and human characteristics. Some of the physical characteristics I will explain will be about mountains, rivers, and plateaus. And some of the human characteristics I will explain will be how the borders are made by people and not by nature, and how people affect the environment in the Yukon region. Yukon is a human region because the borders are made by people, not nature, like rivers, mountains, etc. And as you can see on this map here of the Yukon, the right side of the Yukon and the bottom side of the Yukon are both obviously made by humans because it's straight. So that is why it's a human region. And it's not a physical region, that's because a physical region would have to do with mountains and rivers, but obviously this has nothing to do with a mountain or a river. And also, it's not a functional region because a functional region has a major city with many tinier towns surrounding it, but this has nothing to do with that. And this is also a human region because this is a part of a region of Canada, and many parts of the Canada are broken into regions and that have these kind of borders. And also, they have most of the regions in Canada have straight lines like these, and that's why I think Yukon is a human region. Yukon has many physical and human characteristics. I'll explain some of them. One of them is mountains. As you can see here, there are many mountains in the Yukon. It is one of the main landforms in Yukon, and it is known for having the tallest mountain in Canada. It is right here, Mount Logan. Mount Logan is the highest mountain in Canada and rises to 19,524 feet above sea level. Another physical characteristic is plateaus. Plateaus is also another main landform. It is usually alongside with the mountains. And the other one that I'll explain the physical characteristic is rivers. There are many rivers in the Yukon, as you can see here, and surround many territories in the Yukon. And some of the human characteristics are the airplane. It makes sense to use the airplane here because there are many mountains to fly over. And another human characteristic is mining. Since there are many mountains, there are lots of precious stones like gold, which there was a gold rush before in the Yukon. And also there is hydroelectric developments. Hydroelectric developments is like it's like those energy machines that are on dams, and they create electricity as the water flows through it. And there are many of those in the Yukon rivers, and these are the physical and human characteristics of the Yukon. The people at Yukon had adapted to the environment by mining because in Yukon there are many mountains that can be mined in. For example, in the 1896 to 1911 gold rush, many people went to the mountains in the Yukon and mined for gold. Also, the people adapted to the environment by making hydroelectric developments, such as those machines that they have at dams that create electricity from water power. Also, the people at Yukon had adapted to the environment by using airplanes now, since they were forced to because there was many mountains and it is like an obstacle to them and they have to get over it because going through the mountains would be really hard. And the people at Yukon had also adapted to the environment by boating, but that didn't go very well because the Yukon is up in the north where Canada is, and the environment is really, really cold and freezing. So if you were to take a boat to the river at the winter time, then your boat would get stuck and be frozen inside the river. These are some of the things that the people at the Yukon had adapted to the environment by mining. Oh yeah, and one more thing. The people had also adapted at the Yukon environment for fur trading. The very first people who had come were fur traders. This is how they explored the Yukon and had found this area and region. When the Yukon was explored by the Hudson's Bay Company fur traders in the 1840s, many people came here to live in the Yukon region. They were the first people to live here. Later in the Yukon history, from 1896 to 1911, everyone wanted to get their hands on the gold and become rich. As you can see in the photo below, many people came to live near the mountains so they can get to the mining area easily. And also, fur trading is a worldwide industry. So that meant that is why the fur traders came here in the first place, so that they can explore new areas. And there's also a push factor because fur traders need to explore other areas in order to trade. That meant that the Hudson's Bay Company fur traders who came in the 1840s had to come for their fur trading industry. On the other slide, I forgot to mention that mining became Yukon's #1 industry, and that's what they were known for, because they have many mountains and they found a lot of gold here. So when the fur trading company came in the 1840s and the gold rush occurred from 1896 to 1911, many people came to Yukon. After all these things I have explained in the presentation, now you know why I think Yukon is affected by geography. Also, Yukon is also affected by people from pollution, trash, and many more things. I hope it will stop so we can enjoy the nature in its clean environment and other regions too. And if you forgot my thesis statement, it was that Yukon is affected by geography because geography describes the landscape of the earth and human activity. Yukon is affected by all of these things. Thank you. This is my Explain Everything presentation of the Yukon.